Either way, it can be a life-changing event, but a life-changing event doesn't necessarily prove that it's not just all in the mind.
Right.
So now, on the one hand, I think that, right, a legitimate scientific study ought to be done in, what might be thought of as, I don't know if you'd call this a paranormal claim or just extraordinary claims. Sure, why not, right? There could be legitimate scientific study done into the possible existence of this, or ghosts, or auras, or whatever, the du jour thing is going on right now. My worry, though, is that you can get people, and even people with legitimate scientific credentials, just because you've got a PhD in a scientific field is not an automatic sort of deflector shield against irrationality, right? And there are people who can go into these things with some biases. And what their studies end up as turns out to be some big exercise in confirmation bias. And so it's tricky to guard against that. And fortunately, the scientific method has peer review, which is the built-in way of guarding against that, right? I mean, that's how we caught cold fusion, and that's how we caught, how those results were all bogus, right?
Yeah, so it's not really about a chemical change that they're really trying to look into. It really, there's a lot more to it than just that. Last time I called in, there was a guy that called in afterwards. He's like, oh yeah, I had out-of-body experiences. I set up a playing card, and I couldn't find a playing card or whatever. But these are these are actually studies that are being done that actually tell the tale of somebody actually looking into another room of what's going on while they're supposedly dead or asleep, or the blood's been drained out of their brain for this certain procedure to take out.
Well, I think that would kill a guy actually if you did that, but
and they're actually telling what's going on or actually reporting as to what happened in another room, or
But again, you need to
just a hallucination, and that's why they set up it's called the Aware Project.
Right, but I mean the point of the card thing was that this is a specific thing that you can test rather than whether one thing's on a card or another thing's on a card.
Right.
This is a specific thing where you can objectively say yes, absolutely, it was the two of spades. Whereas if the person, you're in a non-controlled situation where the person happens to luckily describe something that resembles what's in a room, that's not so easy to be objective about. So, I mean, there are a lot of ways that these supposed studies can actually go wrong, and then, the other good thing about the card is that there's a very, very, very low probability that you could actually consistently read or guess what a card is, whereas there is a high probability that you could guess that a particular person is in a room who's frequently there anyway. I mean, even dreams, actual dreams can generally, they often seem to be prophetic because we dream about stuff that we have experience with, and we ignore all the times that we have dreams that don't relate to anything that really happened. When we have a dream based on our own experiences about something that turns out later to have happened, then we tend to pay special attention to the hits and ignore the misses.
And then when you've had,
can I just say one thing?
Okay. And then we're going to move on.
If you guys will look it up at some point, it's called the Aware Project, and that's being put out. And what they're doing is they're putting images. They're called targets, and they're putting them face up on the ceiling of 6 different hospitals. Okay. And the doctors are very skeptical, and they're thinking that it's going to come out as a wash, that nobody's going to be able to do it or whatever. And I'm kind of in the same boat. I just find it very interesting that they even bother, scientists and doctors, that they're even devoting time to this.
Well, I mean, why shouldn't they bother?
I'm glad that they're bothering.
Yeah, I mean, if there's legitimate, I mean, sure. I mean, these things, if people are making these claims, then why not test them, right? And if they care to test them, then that's great. But especially we were talking earlier about like this particular experiment that was done. Well, the one experiment isn't enough. Then if you get certain results that look good, now the trick becomes, can you replicate them?
You need a big sample set, and you need statistically very significant results.
You need a big body of evidence
to justify this,
and not just anecdotes either. You can't say, well, there was a dude in the room and he had a thing.
I heard some guy, or there can even be selection bias among studies, where there may be 1,000 studies done trying to show some evidence of near-death experience, and one of them luckily happens to have a very high success rate out of 1,000. So people cherry pick this one experiment. So,
those are all the kind of things you got to guard against. Anyway,
right.
Let's move on.
Anyway, thanks for calling.
Yeah, appreciate it very much.
Thanks a lot.
All right, bye. To remind people who are watching this show and not the Super Bowl, we're a lot of cool people who you can come and hang out with after the show. Even people from Mark's church, as long as they're coming just to hang out and be friendly and not proselytize at us, because we enjoy our Mexican food.
Yeah, definitely.
And that is at El Arroyo, which I hope they will put the address up on the screen in just a minute, because I lost my announcements on here.
That's all right.
But come on down. It's on 6th Street, I believe, and have some dinner with us. And seriously, Mark, we're sorry.
Yeah.
Call back next week. People who are watching from Mark's church today, thank you. We're just trying to get a point of view out there. We're not trying to steal your babies. And we hope you keep watching.
Yeah. We didn't want that to happen. We didn't mean to lose your audio there. So
I would have given Mark like most of the show.
Sure.
If he had stuck around.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got Matt in South Carolina. It's about 10 minutes left. Probably 7.
Well, Matt,
hello,
can you hear us?
Maybe it is line 4. No, that's line 3.
Matt on line...
Matt.
Can you hear us, Matt, on line 3?
I'm
sorry. Yeah. Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you hear us? You're on.
Hi. It's really difficult to hear you. Hold on. Okay. I wanted to ask a question about morality. Basically, if God has a different morality than us, say a better one, or a one with a different sense of good, then how is it that we can judge him on his actions? And that's basically it.
Well, if we can't judge him, then how do you know it's better?
Well, that's the point. I'm personally, I'm an atheist. I'm just trying to answer this question in a conversation with someone else.
Is this a theist who has said this to you, that we can't, well, God's morality is different than ours, so we can't judge it? Is that his argument?
I mean, if we have, essentially we can't judge God on his actions because we only have our own, we only have our own reasoning and such. And
but if this God is the source of our morals, if he believes that this God is the source of our morals, then it's like, well, why did God create a whole separate set of morals for us to abide by that are different from his? Why would he have done that? I mean, I mean, it's completely irrational. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he actually supports the idea that we can come to our own morals.
In which case, why do we need God?
Not drive them from the Bible.
All right.
Right. I mean, I've got a problem with this separate morality thing in that, people really need to do what makes sense to their moral system. Because, I mean, hypothetically, let's say that it turns out that God, the God of the universe, does not actually hold a special place for humans. He actually... his chosen creatures are space aliens from, 1,000 light years away. But the reason that in his divine plan he created the earth and all humans is because we are, in about 1,000 years from now, we are destined to make a tasty snack on the way across through this galaxy. If that were part of God's divine purpose, I don't think we have an obligation to stick to his plan. I think actually that as our own autonomous individuals, we would be morally obligated to still fight the aliens and the God because I mean, why is that morality right? And the morality that we have collectively come to as a society and basically agreed on, I mean, the stuff that is pretty much no-brainers for anyone living in a civilized country, like don't kill and don't steal, which predated the Bible by quite a lot. Why is that not a reasonable moral system to come to instead of this supernatural being?
Yeah, no, that's a good answer.
Thanks.
All right.
Hope you use it well.
Took care of that one.
Okay.
Thanks for calling. We appreciate it, Matt.
Bye.
We really do. Thanks a lot. And
we got Mike in Chicago.
yeah, we have.
And we got like
5 minutes.
4 or 5 minutes left.
Yeah. Okay.
Mike.
Hello?
Hi, Mike.
You're on.
Hey, how you doing?
We're good. You sound clear. That's nice.
All right, so this is the situation I find myself in. You know, all through high school and part of college, you know, I had a lot of rationally thinking friends not a while ago. But now I've transferred into a Christian college, and one of the requirements is a Bible studies class. And so I want to remain firm and not just get walked over. But I was wondering how, I mean, you guys must have experience with being, you know, overwhelmed by the amount of opposing arguments there are. What do you guys have?
Not especially.
Like tip, trick to, you know, get through, and, you know.
Well,
Why are you in a Christian college?
yeah, that's.
I'm in a Christian college because their nursing program is one of the best around.
Okay.
And so it's one of those things where, you know, what do I value more? The
I mean,
excellent nursing program or the other stuff?
yeah, I mean, that is the question. It's really up to you to answer. I mean, I'm sure that it is
It's a
not
shame
the
that- yeah.
only school with a good nursing program.
Yeah, I mean,
but
it's a
can
shame that they
understand.
sort of hold their nursing program hostage to people, you know, on the condition that you have to take their Bible study classes. But you know, that unfortunately is how they work. It's like, oh, you want the benefits? Well, you have to do this bit. Right. So, but all that aside, I think that you can really only like, is there a specific argument that you have gotten in the class up to this point that has been sort of a stumper for you?
I don't know if we have time
We may
for
not have, yeah.
specific arguments, but what I would say in general is maybe what Sun Tzu would say is do not attack the enemy where he is strong. I don't particularly see that you're obligated to take on an entire room full of people who are just going to bark at you.
Yeah.
You know, I think that the best you can hope for is to maybe educate yourself and maybe some fellow students one-on-one. But you know, listen to what people are saying, and then read up on them afterwards from the comfort of your own home when you're not being pressured, and you know, have some personal chats with individuals that you think are you know, potential allies.
Yeah. And there are a lot of really good online resources that are devoted to critiquing common apologetics. There's infidels.org, which has the whole
Iron Chariots.
Iron Chariots, I was going to mention. Iron Chariots Wiki, which is, again, the counter-apologetics wiki. And these are all offering very detailed you know, rebuttals to the most common apologetic points that are made.
Right.
But it could be a very useful class in that you will hear what their arguments are firsthand, right from the horse's mouth.
Right.
And you know, the cliche about the one lone student who bravely stands up in the room full of his, you know, full of the evil professor and the, you know, in the room full of hostile people and completely shames him, that's mostly just Jack Chick's fantasy life.
Right.
So I wouldn't assume that you can do that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I wouldn't have had a problem with it if it weren't for some of the things that the teacher's saying, and you just look around the classroom and everyone's just like nodding, like, "Oh yeah, that makes perfect sense." You know?
I'm sorry, but we are
I'm
absolutely out of time. We're really out of time. So hang on, I'll put you on hold, and maybe you can come back. But anyway, that's our show.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for
sorry again about the phones,
watching.
but it happens here.
And you know, people from church, feel free to keep watching and calling, and bye.
Bye.